Hello, everybody. My name is John Murphy. Welcome to On the Homefront. Hopefully, you're enjoying us live on WILI right now at AM 1400 or 95.3 digital FM. We also record our shows for YouTube, for the radio station's YouTube channel. And many of the 5 o'clock shows have their own channels, including ours. So if you miss a show, you can always catch it. And we always give our guests links so they can share their story with their friends as well. So our program this week is a little short, but we're going to end early because of some Red Sox coverage, so we wish them well tonight on this very hot, skanky summer day. But we're going to focus on an organization we've been a partner with for a long time, is the Windham Regional Community Council. And we're going to look at one of their programs today. This is the fourth program that we've had. We had one a while back last year, kind of looking at an overview of the agency and its history and all the different services it provides. And then we looked a little bit at youth services, things for family. That's coming up today. And we also looked at issues for young parents at the Child Resource Center here in Willimantic and program with veterans. And I'm here today again with Jeffrey Beadle, the Executive Director at WRCC. Jeff, it's really good to have you back in the house.
Really nice to be back, John.
I appreciate continuing
Good
our
to see the man behind the scenes, Matthew, as well.
Matthew Rupar makes it all happen. He is always making it happen for us. And with the Youth Services Bureau today, we're going to be speaking with Kaylee Strong, and she's the coordinator of the Youth Services Review Board. So we'll talk with Kaylee in just a couple minutes, but Jeff will start us out maybe with an overview of the whole Bureau and the different ways that they're working with young people in their lives in the everyday.
I'm happy to.
Please.
If I go back in time, way before Kaylee's time,
Yes.
in 1983, our agency approached the town council to establish a youth service bureau. A youth service bureau requires municipal sponsorship and municipal funding. So that effort was led by Jane Metzler-Potts, and our champion. When you're doing legislative matters, you always need a champion, right? And that champion was Virginia Darrow, who was deceased a few years ago, but she brought the subject up and pioneered it through the council and ultimate approval. So that was 1983.
Wow.
We then enhanced our funding, and we were able to develop a juvenile review board whose very specific purpose is to deal with adolescents and young people within the Windham Public Schools, mostly middle school age, who have made some mistakes, whether it be truancy, bad behavior, etc. And the intention of this program is to divert those youth,
Right,
and their families from being dragged into juvenile court, which is part of the entire Connecticut justice system.
right.
Our concern is that a youth and their family that goes through that process can find it very debilitating, and at some point, depending on your age, it can be a marker on your name. So
That means it stays with you.
it stays with you.
Yeah.
Unless you were under 16, of course, because there's other protections for that. So the purpose is we have established a review board that is made up of experts in the field of youth who serve on this board in a volunteer capacity to hear the cases that are referred to the Juvenile Review Board from Windham Public Schools, and to basically adjudicate in a friendly manner, but firm, their case. So they are interviewed, their parents are brought into the interview process, and we explore their motivations, issues they have, what have you. And then our intent is to create a 6-month to 1 year long intervention program, so that they have certain markers they have to reach and achieve in order to get back into good standing with the schools.
Right.
So
To kind of earn their credibility back.
this is correct.
That's right.
This is correct.
Yeah.
Show better character. Now, of course, all youth, like most people, were deeply impacted by the closures of COVID. So that has exacerbated a lot of issues for adolescents. Zoom education,
Yep.
not being able to socialize with their friends, their classmates, isolation, further enhancing their participation in the electronic world of phones and computers, etc., which can lead youth down a very perilous journey in many cases. There are very sad stories regarding that. So the whole positive impact of the review board is to intervene, get their life back together, so to speak, a young life, so it doesn't go with them the rest of their life, and then move on, be successful in school, further education or vocational training, whatever might be best for that individual youth.
Yeah. So, Kaylee, first of all, thank you for volunteering your service, because I've had so many people on that depend on volunteer energy. And if you quantify it, it's a huge amount. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. I'm honored to be here.
But what led you to want to volunteer, and what brought you to want to work in this space to make a contribution that way?
So, from a very young age, I've always wanted to work with adolescents. For some reason, it's always been my passion. I went to school for social work, so I have my bachelor's in social work. And when this position opened up, I was like, wow, this is like really what I want to do. I definitely want to work with adolescents, and if there's just any impact I can provide them to help change their lives and get them on the right course, then that's definitely, absolutely what I want to do. So when this position opened up, it was literally a match made in heaven.
Right, and you got on board this past year, I guess, right in the past,
Yep.
July, right? Past year?
Yep.
So I guess maybe I could ask your first impressions coming into what your expectations were. What was it like for you to actually engage?
It was great. Actually, my second interview was the day I got hired. And then hours after, I was sitting in my first intake appointment.
Yeah.
So I got to see how all that went down. I took over for Seth McAllister, who was the previous juvenile review board coordinator for the past 40 years. So,
Close.
yeah. So I had
Close
some
to
big
that.
shoes to fill. But, having that intake experience on the first day I was hired was definitely helpful and reassured my passion for what I want to do. This is definitely where I belong.
Yeah, it confirmed it, which is really good to feel.
Yes,
It's a
that's
good
for
feeling.
sure.
So what's the current load of cases like? How many people are currently tied up now in this?
So when I came on board, we had 3 carryover cases. I just got my first solo referral last month. And usually cases start to uptick once the school year starts, because as Jeff mentioned,
Of
we
course.
get
Yeah.
we get a lot of referrals from the schools, but we also get them from the juvenile court and the police department.
Right.
So the ones I got, or that were in place over the summer, was primarily juvenile court and the police department, since school wasn't in.
Yeah.
But I'm in contact with Wyndham Middle School and Wyndham High School, so we should be getting some more referrals soon from kiddos who just need a little bit of help.
Yeah. Jeff, let me ask you one thing, a little context here. Early 80s to now, 40 years. It's a lot of time. Kids are still kids, and they were still
That's
kids
right.
then. So if you kind of take what's in common that kids have that they all have to go through, what are the biggest changes that you see and what they have to deal with compared to 40 years ago in terms of all the outside factors affecting them in their lives?
The same challenges, we ourselves had to confront in our adolescence and middle school. Identity. Where do I fit in? What do I want to do? Am I in the right school? Do I really like my friends? Who's the bully? But if I circle back to my description of what youth have been facing the last couple of years, I think the idea of identity has certainly expanded greatly. not just as a person, but your own, how you present to the world. And then all of the challenges, the negative side of the super electronics and communication capabilities we have now.
It's a big bubble.
And the negativity that can come out of spending too much time there, and Instagram, or whatever it may be, the shaming that particularly adolescent girls go through. My own daughter went through that. I mean, she's 27, but those were issues then with all these emerging sites that youth go to. Rather than going outside, playing some volleyball, going for a bicycle ride, going fishing, hiking, and being in the great outdoors. I mean, when I grew up, you got out of school, you got home, your mother or father said, change your clothes and go outside. What your father will yell for you at 6 o'clock in his beaming voice to tell you it's time for dinner.
When the
now,
come on.
Yes. Now kids, they come home. There may not be a guardian available. There may be the guardians are both working,
Absolutely.
mother and father, or guardians, conservators.
Yep, two-paycheck
and we're still. Kaylee can expound on this, but people are still getting back into post-COVID norms. I know I myself had to. I mean, I was like I realized a couple of months ago, back in January, as we moved out of our COVID protocols.
Right.
I have been spending so much time just emailing and texting people rather than calling them, going out for a meal, and God forbid staff meetings, for everybody to stay in touch.
Yeah.
So I and all of us, I think, are just, recalibrating and getting back to where we were with what knowledge we've gained from that period of time.
Do you have a sense that some of the stress that leads to troubles comes from the fact that a lot of issues of living together or identity, as you said, are coming out in the open now? For a while, things can seem quiet because they're in the closet and they're
That's
buried.
right.
And it's fine because it's the glass menagerie thing.
Yes.
But when it finally comes out, it can get nasty.
Yes.
And is that adding to the stress that leads to behavior that might take it over when maybe you wouldn't go that far?
I'll give that one to Kaylee, because she's closer to
Yes.
the current age group.
Yes.
Well, you'll
Who-
see it
who
in
we
their
are-
faces,
are
right? You'll
helping.
see it in their faces, right? So what do you see?
So, as Jeff explained, a lot of great points, but I think definitely the pandemic too, because a lot of these kids, missed formative developmental years of their life, because they're supposed to be in school, they're supposed to be making those friendships and those relationships and those small little mistakes, but the family aspect of things, with financial situations, there's a lot of families who have to work. Both parents have to work 2 jobs, which is very difficult because, childcare is very expensive. But also, the child comes home and there's no parent.
Yep.
And I know in Willimantic, there's not many things to do.
Yeah.
I lived here, like I said, majority of my life. And, these kids are just trying to find themselves, but it's hard in a community that doesn't really have the adequate resources.
Yeah.
But our resources are kind of, in a way, hidden because there are so many resources, and I've learned that from working at WRCC. There's so many resources for youth. They're just not displayed properly.
Is that because people don't find out until they're in trouble, and then you find out where to get help?
I think
and
that
there's
might
a vacuum, be. Because I always wonder, what could parents do proactively?
Right.
Things that they may not think are important are very important, and this can help to prevent a lot of this. Do you struggle with that for parents who have the time to know what it is to do?
I would say yes, because definitely, like I said, they're wrapped up in, making sure the household is fine, making sure they have enough money to pay bills, put food on the table, keep the roof over their heads. So, there could be various trainings or like educational sessions on resources out there, but parents might not have the time to attend such things.
Well, we're going to be, through the Youth Services Bureau, the review board, we're going to be working with Wyndham Public Schools when they're going to be opening up this fall, or I guess maybe November, an academy with various options for parents about parenting, language, issues facing, as we're speaking,
It's the
their
PCU,
youth.
right?
They've had those
Yes.
before, right? Parent academies?
Yes,
Yep.
they have. So
Right, things like-
they are going to, the new staff are
Great.
going to be jump starting that, and we're going to play a partnership role in offering.
And that'll definitely be great because it's a all-in-one thing that parents can sign up for, and it's not like all over the place. It's a
that's great.
one-stop shop for anything parents are interested in learning.
Well, we should have you back in October, closer to that date, because that would be a good day to have everybody.
Beginning to think that
Yeah, yeah.
in terms of upcoming events.
Definitely, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, on the radio, in case you've just joined us, we're talking about WRCC with Jeff Beadle today and Kaylee Strong. And I wondered, as people come to the youth services area, what are the programs that WRCC can help them as ancillary supports? Because it's not all in a vacuum.
Right.
There's a presenting problem, and then there's the different things that contribute to it, right?
Yeah.
So how else can they, interact with WRCC, maybe even after they resolve it, to move ahead more coherently? How does that work?
So, my position as Juvenile Review Board Coordinator is under the Youth Services Board. So
Right.
ours is, the JRB is a diversionary program. So like I said before, we get referrals that come in. And then, it's a 6-month program. They go through it with us to help mend relationships within the community so that they don't have to go on through the juvenile court system. But there is, I'll give them a little shout out, Grow Wyndham is doing a lot of great things to support the youth. Definitely, I want to say they're planning on opening up a youth space in the building for youths to come instead of, being out on the streets. They can have a place to hang out, play games, cook together. I would definitely if
That's a great program. We've
if
had them
that's
on many
yes,
times.
yes.
the
So
Wyndham
I've kind
Youth
of been
Corps?
in yes, I've
Youth
kind of been
Corps.
in contact
Right.
with Grow Wyndham to see if I can refer some of my kiddos there. But yeah, no, WRCC as a whole has many different departments. But the Youth Services Bureau and Grow Wyndham are definitely some that are going to help our kiddos for sure.
I can add to that or supplement. Also, we can, for those with younger children needing child care, we do provide child care services, early childhood education at 2 sites, Valley Street and up at Wyndham Heights.
Yeah, that was our second show.
That's right. That is available if there are veterans in the family that need assistance in accessing benefits. That's there. If there are people, families, adults who are at risk of losing their housing, we have what's called funded by the Department of Housing, State Department. We have funds, and through an application policy, we can provide financial assistance to hold on to a house, to make a mortgage payment, make a monthly payment, utility costs, etc.
Sure.
With and do it rapidly in a coordinated approach with all other providers within Eastern Connecticut.
Yeah.
So we can we make those kind of resources we make known. We also have the housing. We do have units that we manage for those who are eligible,
Right.
but we're always full with that. It's 62 units
62.
who we manage, and we pay the rents for 32 of those.
Well, I've covered some of this with you over many years, and it took a long time to get the coordination in place. And then you end up saving a lot of money and time as well as serving people better with
That's right.
quality. It saves money.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, Kaylee, I want to thank you for being here, for your good work. What would be the one thing that would make the biggest difference to you? Let's say you don't hit Powerball, get a $500 million, and the whole program is fine. What's the number one thing that would make the most difference to you right now?
I would say, as far as the position goes, which this is a very large part of my life as of right now,
Right.
I just want to be in this position, even if it means I only help one kiddo. You know, changing the life of one kid will make a difference to me, definitely, because I'm in this job for a reason.
Yeah.
My goal, obviously, is to help as many kiddos as I can, but if I just know that I changed one kiddo's life, that'll mean the absolute world to me. It'll solidify further that I am where I belong.
That's a good way to end that.
Well said.
Well said. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It was such an honor.
And Jeff Beadle, it's always good to have
Always a
you here.
pleasure.
We'll
Always
look
fun.
forward to having you guys back in October to continue the stories. And just, search on Wyndham Regional Community Council. The website has all the information about the programs, all the ways to follow up on the things that they talked about today. So we're going to take a short musical break before we end early today for Red Sox coverage. One of my favorite local musicians is Patty Tewitt. She had a really wonderful record. Her most recent one is called Hard Case of the Blues. Here's a taste.
What can I do to ease your trouble? What can I do to ease your pain? Because lately you've been in a bubble. I've tried to burst it over and over again. You know you've never been much of a talker, but you've always let your love shine through. I can see you're crying on the inside, but there's nothing I can say or do. It's been a hard, hard case, a hard, hard case of the blues.
Okay, we're back on the home front here. I've got a few minutes left for the show, so I want to run down a calendar of some events coming up this weekend you might want to check out. Thank you very much for the emails. I'm getting a lot of them now. Just send it to john@humanartsmedia.com, and we'll put the stuff on here at WILI and also up on the show I do on Wednesdays up at Eastern on WECS. So we're happy to share the news. There's a lot of stuff going on. First of all, at the Wyndham Museum, at the Textile and Mill Museum, they're having an opening and a reception on Friday, September 8th at 6 o'clock. There's a new exhibit there called Sewn Stories, Shared Lives and Exhibit. It features two artists, Linda Martin and Carol Vinnick. It's a mixture of Black American and Jewish American traditions, and they're exploring differences and commonalities through fiber and textile art forms. And it's going to be there for the whole month at the Mill Museum. So again, if you want to stop by, they'll be happy to meet with you at 6 o'clock this Friday on the 8th. This weekend on Sunday the 10th, they're having a special jazz concert. It's called Jazz in the Garden. They do it every year, and it benefits the Wyndham Free Library. It's coming up Sunday the 10th in the afternoon. If you want to find out more, just go to their website. You can get all the information about location. It's at a place they call Fox Hall. If you're a local, Fox Hall on Wyndham Center Road, just go to thewyndhamfreelibrary.org. And again, it's this Sunday on the 10th. Jot down Sunday, September 17th, and go to the Shabu stage. The whole Gilson Square is going to be filled with people for the Pugliero of Willimantic. It's a combination food festival, music event, and craft fair all day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's free. It's all being put together with folks who are involved with Click and Grow Wyndham. A lot of community groups are behind this. So bring an appetite and have fun on the 17th. And the last thing I want to mention is Neighbors. This is a wonderful monthly magazine. It comes out every month, obviously, because I just said it was monthly. But the idea is it's a calendar of all the events. It gives all of our organizations a chance to share news with you. And also it's a way for a small group of writers to share stories about community living. So it's available for free all over in 22 towns. But if you don't get a hard copy, it's online in color at neighborspaper.com. neighborspaper.com, and I want to thank Tom King for doing that good work for so many years. So that's how we're going to wrap it up this week. Now I have to get out of the way for the Red Sox. Thanks very much for sharing your time with us, and we'll see you next week.